Hello film directors, how are you guys doing on this fine day? So I'm hearing you want to make a film, and unless you're a weird Swedish art house film director, you're gonna need a protagonist. And since your actors are gonna be your friends and their only acting experiences from a school show they did in 3rd grade, your protagonist is probably gonna end up with the charisma of an oyster. But of course, as I like to remind myself, bad acting is always the director's fault. So here are a few tips you can apply to your protagonist if you want to make them more likable. Number 1, save the cat. Save the cat is a term coined by Blake Snyder, which describes a moment early in the story where the character does something admirable in order to make him likable to the audience. So basically, it's when Katniss volunteers as tribute to save Prim.
I volunteer! I volunteer!
Or when Hiccup chooses to spare Toothless. As you can probably tell by now, a save the cat moment works even better when it comes with an aspect of rebelling against an injustice. Of course, save the cat moments don't have to be as grand and epic as those examples. For instance, in Interstellar, when Cooper criticizes the school system for not giving proper education to his children, this is, I would say, a save the cat moment.
What's your waistline? Oh, what, 32? I'm about 33 inseam.
I'm not sure I see what you're getting at.
You're telling me it takes 2 numbers to measure your own ass, but only 1 to measure my son's future?
Now that we've established all this, I'd like to make it clear that this is an advice and not an absolute rule. Many characters are still likable even though they don't have any save the cat moment. Tony Stark, for example, starts his journey being a complete asshole. But we still like him, because he's funny. And those kind of characters make up for the best redemption arcs. Number 2, subjectivity. Now, subjectivity in cinema is a subject not often discussed on YouTube, or rather, often simply reduced to the subjective camera. The subjective camera, for instance, only describes when the camera is placed in the same geographical position as the character would be in order to allow the audience to see what the character would see. This is called the POV shot, and it's one of the many ways a filmmaker can use subjectivity in his film. To put it simply, subjectivity refers to any time the filmmaker does something to put the audience within the character's mind, notably their perceptual senses such as sight or hearing. But it can also be all their internal processes such as thinking or feeling. And weirdly enough, sometimes subjectivity can be better created through an omniscient POV and cinematography than through a simple POV shot. Through subjectivity, a character's emotions and perspectives get to impact the world of the story, the audience's perception of the character, and the meaning of what is happening to the character within the world of the story. This is subjective as we are directly shown the character's perspective of the world rather than the way the world actually is. The most common example of how settings are influenced by a character's emotions is how it always starts to rain during funeral scenes. For Mustenberg, a psychologist that explored film theory, this process is called the emotionalizing of nature, which is the reflection of the mood and emotions of the characters in the setting around them. In a way, subjectivity ties in with the concept of show don't tell, as it often allows the filmmaker to create meaning through audio and visuals rather than simply through dialogues. Subjectivity is super effective at triggering the empathy of the viewer by forcing them to consider the perspective and experience of a specific character, as well as allowing the audience to directly experience the world of the story rather than simply observing it, which creates a deeper bond between said audience and the stakes of the story. Number 3, allow your protagonist to be happy. Okay, I know you little freaks love to see your favorite characters suffer as much as possible. So do I. But way too often do I see short films or even full-on movies where the characters keep on suffering and suffering without ever getting a break. And at some point, it's just tiring. Like, your emotional response just numbs over time. It's probably just a sick evolutionary trait that us humans developed over time to prevent us from going insane from all the pain that we see all around us. But to us, writers and directors, it means that we can't dump all of our frustrations on our characters all the time. I know it sucks, but just remember that your characters aren't responsible for your pathetic life. Loser. More often than not, sad moments are way more effective if placed after a happy moment. The more obvious example is the absolutely gut-wrenching montage sequence in Up, where we witness this beautiful and happy couple turn into this sad and lonely widowed man. Number 4, I've said it once and I'll say it again. always show the eyes. In films, like in life, we connect to people and characters, often through the eyes. Showing the eyes of a character really helps the audience relate to them and get to like them. This way, in films, you'll rarely ever see actors blinking. Additionally, the only characters that you'll ever see wearing sunglasses are villains, as the filmmakers don't necessarily want you to connect with those characters. And also, in films, they'll often put makeup on the actors to make the eyes look bigger. This is what they did in The Queen's Gambit, where Anya Taylor-Joy's eyes just look fucking huge, and it's brilliant because we connect to her so easily. Well, it's already the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe, leave a like, and a comment. See you next time.